Okay. So first of all, thank you so much, Shankaran Prabhuji and all the exalted Vaishnavas for giving me this responsibility to glorify Lord and discuss the subject matter, such a difficult topic as Brahma-saṁhitā. I definitely don't feel qualified for it, but whatever best ability, whatever I have learned from Srila Prabhupada, all the senior devotees, and all you exalted Vaishnavas, I'm just trying to study and share what I have studied this. So, Om Ajnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakya Chakshurunmilitamina Tasmai Shri Gurubhye Namah. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Mukam karoti vachalam pangam langhayati girim yat kripatamham vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramanandam Madhavam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So I prepared some slides and I'm going to share those. So please let me know when you can see Mataji.
Yeah, we can see Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. So, as I said, first of all, thank you again for this opportunity. And I found this beautiful verse in Srimad Bhagavatam where Sutta Goswami says that to all you Vaishnavas, please accept my humble obeisances. I'm trying to describe these transcendental glories of the Lord as described by Lord Brahmaji. And as the birds fly in the sky, as far as their capacity allows, I'm just trying to attempt to describe these beautiful prayers by Brahmaji called as Brahma-saṁhitā, as far as my realization allows. So I was thinking of starting today. Every week we will discuss Brahma-saṁhitā. These are very beautiful verses, and Srila Prabhupada really loved those, and he used them in so many lectures, and he recited those very melodiously. And also, all the temples before the darshan starts, he mentioned that we should play this Brahma-saṁhitā prayers before the deity darshan. So in the first few weeks, probably we will be discussing only the introduction before we get into the actual verses, the history of Brahma-saṁhitā introduction, and what is in Brahma-saṁhitā that we will learn. So to discuss what Brahma-saṁhitā is, this Brahma-saṁhitā, according to our very Vedic tradition, is also called as hymns of Brahmaji. They were sung by Brahmaji many millions or probably trillions of years ago, when he was created, or he was born from the navel of Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, just prior to the act of creation, when he was asked to perform tapa, and he was lost in the darkness, and he didn't know what to do. And then he heard these two words, tapa. Then he performed this austerity, and then when this knowledge was revealed to him within his heart, then he offered these beautiful prayers to Lord Shri Krishna. So these prayers were all lost in the ancient times, but in the 16th century, when Chaitanya Mahāprabhu, after taking the renounced order of life or sannyasa at the age of 24, when he was on the pilgrimage in southern India, he discovered this in a manuscript form, and they were actually painstakingly handwritten in the manuscript form, and they were in the custodianship of some great devotee Brahmanas there, and they were worshipped in these temples as śāstra-Deity, or incarnation of God in the Holy Scripture, or what we can call as probably Grantha Avatar. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is mentioned how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu discovered this scripture called Brahma-saṁhitā when he was on the tour of southern India after taking his sannyas order of life. He started from Jagannath Puri, and that tour lasted for about 2 years or so. So he traveled to many holy places like Shrirangashetra, then Setubandha Rameshwar, Kanyakumari, and then on his return journey again to northern direction, he stopped at a place called Adikeshava Temple in the Travancore district on the bank of Payasvini River. So where he met some very exalted Brahmanas and who were also Vaishnava devotees, and he had some highly advanced discussions with them. And then that is the place when in the Adikeshava temple, he found one chapter of these beautiful prayers of Brahmaji. And this is only one chapter, which is 5th chapter of these prayers, which is actually the prayers are said to be 100 chapters. So imagine what a great loss we have to humanity, that we lost all these beautiful chapters with the time. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he got into very ecstasy after getting this chapter, discovering this chapter, and he called this as the most valuable jewel for the Vaishnava Sampradaya. And when he saw this manuscript, he went into ecstasy and he showed some ecstatic symptoms there. So this we can probably read from these verses from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, 9th chapter. So these, let me share again. So we'll read these verses from Chaitanya Charitamrita. So in this pastime where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was on the return journey, it says in one place actually his secretary or Brahman assistant Krishnadas was allured by a community called Bhattadhari, and they kind of allured him, and then they were trying to cheat him, and they also attacked Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he went to free him from them. But all their weapons were actually attacked them only, and then he somehow freed Krishna, his assistant Krishnadas. And then from there, from these verses we'll read from 234. Se dina chali aila payasvini tire snana kari gela adi keshava mandire. So that very night, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his assistant Krishnadas arrived at the bank of the river Payasvini. They took their bath and then they went to see temple of Adi Keshava. Keshava dekhiya preme avishta haila nati stuti nritya gita bahuta karila. So when Lord saw Adi Keshava temple, he was immediately overwhelmed with ecstasy, and offering various obeisances and prayers, he chanted and danced. So he showed some ecstatic symptoms when he saw the Adi Keshava deity there. Preme dekhi loke haila maha chamatkara sarvaloka kaila prabhur parama satkara. All the people, they were gradually astonished to see the ecstatic pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They all received the Lord very well. Mahabhakta Gana Saha Tahan Goshti Kaila Brahma-saṁhitāya Punte Tahana Paila. So in the temple of Adi Keshava, Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu discussed spiritual matters among highly advanced devotees, and then there he found the chapter of Brahma-saṁhitā. Kuntipana Prabhur Haila Ananda Apara Kampashru Sveda Stambha Pulaka Vikara. So he showed some ecstatic symptoms here. Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu was greatly happy to find the chapter of this scripture. And the symptoms of ecstatic transformation, trembling, tears, perspiration, trance, and jubilation were manifest in his body. And in the next verses, he mentions about what this scripture is actually, how important this is for the Vaishnava Sampradaya. Siddhanta Shastra Nahi Brahma-saṁhitā rasama Govinda Mahima Jnanera Parama Karana Alpakshare Kahe Siddhanta Apara Sakala Vaishnava Shastra Madhya Atisara. There is no scripture equal to Brahma-saṁhitā as far as the final spiritual conclusion is concerned. Indeed, that scripture is the supreme revelation of the glories of Lord Govinda, for it reveals the topmost knowledge about him. Since all conclusions are briefly presented in the Brahma-saṁhitā, it is essential among all the Vaishnava literature. So here he shows how important this scripture is for the Vaishnava, because it is the final conclusion as far as Krishna's supremacy is concerned, and it is also recited by the first created being Brahmaji himself. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Bahuyante se punti nila lekhiya lekhaiya ananta padmanabha aila hari harashitahaya. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu not only got ecstatic, but he made copies of this Brahma-saṁhitā. How? There was no copy machine or any simple way like making digital copies that time. So he had a scribe to write this down for himself. And then with a great pleasure, he went on his forward journey. So these are the descriptions how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu found this scripture called Brahma-saṁhitā, where he called this, as we earlier talked about, as most valuable jewel. And then after getting this scribed, he carried that copy with him, and upon his return to Jagannath Puri, he shared that copy with his some devotees like Ramananda Rai, Vasudeva Datta, Mukunda Datta, and so on. And he also asked them that they should make a copy for it. And somehow then this, as the word of discovery of this Brahma-saṁhitā, as it spread in the Vaishnava community, every Vaishnava made a copy of this Brahma-saṁhitā, and this is how this was spread in the Vaishnava community, and it spread all over India almost after that. And gradually Brahma-saṁhitā was broadcasted everywhere, and it became as one of the major texts in the Gaudiya Vaishnava community. As Krishnadas Kaviraj just mentioned, we read that indeed this scripture is the supreme revelation of the glories of Govinda, for it reveals the topmost knowledge about him. And since this is briefly presented in Brahma-saṁhitā, it is also one of the best literatures in the Vaishnava community or Vaishnava literatures. There are also some references in the 11th chapter where he asked to make copy of this and how he shared this with Ramananda Rai and Vaishnava Datta. So when he returned to Jagannath Puri, so Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu, when Vasudeva Datta, Mukunda Datta, and Ramananda Rai received him, so that's where So he said to Vasudeva Datta that I brought this treasure for you, all the Vaishnavas here. So Puna Prabhu kahe ami tomara nimitte dui pustake aniyachi dakshina haite. I brought 2 books from South India. So he said, for your sake only. So how much he was caring for his disciples, and he brought something because he thought this as a treasure for all the Vaishnavas. So he said, I brought 2 books for you from South India. And then he says, Swarupera Thaniyache Lahata Likhiya Vasudeva Anandita Pustaka Paya. So the books are being kept with Swarup Damodar. That's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling Vasudeva Datta, and you can get them copied. So he's insisting that you should also get this copied. Hearing this, Vasudeva Datta became very happy. And then he said that Pratyeka Vaishnava Sabe Likhiya Laila krame krame dui grantha sarvatra vyapila. So this, indeed, each and every Vaishnava copied these two books, and by and by these two books, the Brahma-saṁhitā and Śrī Krishna Karunamrita, were broadcast all over India. So that's the emphasis is given how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also saw this scripture as Brahma-saṁhitā as very, very important for all the Vaishnavas. So going back to the slides. So what's in the Brahma-saṁhitā? So as we saw, this Brahma-saṁhitā is one of the very important scriptures for Vaishnavas. And so all these pointers, bullets, what I have written, they are coming from the purport of the verses from Chaitanya Charitamrita, 9th chapter 239 and 240. They are in the paragraph, but here I just wanted to put them in the bullet points. So it includes the philosophical conclusion of Achinta Bheda Veda Tattva that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu promoted, the simultaneous oneness and difference of the Lord. There, in one of the verses of Brahma-saṁhitā, it is said that the Lord himself is Pradhana, actually, Prakriti, as well as Purusha. So he is all the causes as well as the effect of this material world. Then it also presents the methods of devotional service. It also presents the 18-syllable Vedic hymn, and that we'll read in the 3rd verse of this chapter. It has the discourse on the soul, super soul, and karma, the fruitive activities. It has an explanation of the Kama Gayatri and Kama Bija mantra. So this Gayatri, because Brahmaji was initiated by Krishna himself through his heart. So this is the Gayatri mantra that was given. So that is also mentioned here, and the original Mahavishnu is also described in this Brahma-saṁhitā. In the Brahmaji's prayers, there is a beautiful description of the spiritual world, particularly Goloka Vrindavan. It explains demigods like Ganesha, Durga, and also Garbhodakshai Vishnu. The origin of Gayatri mantra is also explained in Brahma-saṁhitā. The origin of Govinda and his transcendental position and abode are mentioned. Then living entities, their position, then the highest goal of life, what it is, and how it can be achieved in the step-by-step process. That is also mentioned here. The meaning of austerity, what austerity is, what tapa is, and the 5 gross elements are mentioned. Love of Godhead is mentioned in several verses in here. And also impersonal Brahman is mentioned. We'll learn about this. Then initiation of Brahma, how after the prayers Brahmaji offered, Krishna initiates him through the heart and gives him the description in the end. The vision of transcendental love, Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena, how to see the Lord, how the devotees can see the Lord through the ointment of love, that is mentioned. Then the different steps of devotional service are mentioned. The mind is mentioned, Yoga Nidra, how Mahavishnu is in Yoga Nidra, and the details of Yoga Nidra is mentioned. Goddesses of fortune, not only one, but it says that Lakshmi Sahasrashata Sambrama Sevyamanam. Goddesses of fortune are described there. Then devotional service in the spontaneous ecstasy is mentioned. Different incarnations of the Lord, starting with Lord Ramachandra, are there. The descriptions of the conditioned soul and its duties, what is dharma, that is mentioned. Then the truth about Lord Vishnu is also mentioned here. So I'm just listing out what we are going to see in the Brahma-saṁhitā in next sessions. Then description of Lord Shiva, how he is like a yogurt and Krishna is like milk, how he is just a different formation of Krishna's energy, that is mentioned. There is a mention of different Vedic literatures. There is personal feature and impersonal feature of the Lord. And there are descriptions of how sun is considered as Lord's eye, and how the Kala Chakra is working when the sun is rotating around in the universe. And many other subjects are mentioned. So these are the descriptions what we are going to learn in Brahma-saṁhitā in next few weeks. So next week, quickly, we can browse through why this book has emphasis, or Prabhupada and in the Vaishnava literature, it has given so much emphasis. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur, he took this effort to translate this in English, which the quality of English is very, very high level. We will, when we read this and we'll try to understand this, we'll find out that. So this is what I wanted to kind of cover today. We still have about 5 minutes. So if there are any thoughts or reflections, we can take those. And then next week, we'll go over the importance of this book for Vaishnava Sampradaya, and then we'll start the first verse. So I'll stop here, and then we'll take some reflections or any thoughts or questions you have.
Hare Hare Radhā-Rañjana Prabhu. Prabhu, so beautifully prepared, the background you have prepared about how Lord Chaitanya discovered Brahma-saṁhitā and brought it for the devotees. Thank you so much. You did really nice analysis and background work for Brahma-saṁhitā before we start actually into Brahma-saṁhitā, how it is so significant for the Vaishnavas, especially Gaudiya Vaishnavas. You highlighted it very nicely. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Yeah. And thank you for the opportunity, and I will do my best, whatever I can do.
Yeah, wonderful, Prabhu.
Okay. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thanks very much, Prabhuji. It's wonderful introduction about Brahma-saṁhitā. And I think Praveen Prabhuji has one question. Is it okay, Prabhuji, to take?
Yes, Prabhu. Mataji, I'll do my best, and all simple questions I'll take. Any difficult questions I'll pass on to Shankaran Prabhu.
Okay, Prabhuji.
For one wonderful introduction to Brahma-saṁhitā. So, Prabhuji, the question I had was, is Brahma-saṁhitā also honored, so kept in such a high regard by other sampradayas like Shaivas and those who worship Shivas and Shakti and things like that?
As far as my understanding is, Prabhu, it is glorified in the Vaishnava community. I am not sure about the Shaiva or Shakti Sampradaya. Shankaran Prabhu, if you have any information about that, if you can share.
This book is actually primarily literature. I don't think that the Shaktas or Shaivites will be very happy to see the descriptions, because they have specific attachment to Lord Shiva. So, no, I don't think this is actually regarded, or even they would be knowing about also anything about the Brahma-saṁhitā. But of course, this is primarily a Vaishnava literature, so you don't expect that Shaivites or Shaktas or even impersonalists would be very much aware of this literature or hold the literature in high regards.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah, actually, it starts with the supremacy of Shri Krishna in the very first verse. So I don't know how many accept that in general. So thank you very much, Prabhuji and Matajis. So
Thank you, Radhā-Rañjana Prabhu.
Thank you, Radhā-Rañjana Prabhuji and Shankaran Prabhuji. So we will conclude the call here.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Radhā-Rañjana Prabhu.
Patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo. Anantakunda Vaishnavindiki Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.